Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303. Introducing one co-host with more nuggets than Chick-fil-A, Nick Morahan. Executive producer until we find someone better, Eric Washington. Nobody really knows what he does around here, Nevada Putnam. And now, the single greatest thing to happen to hosting in history, Jermaine Antonio Colon Mendez. On with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303, episode 321. I'm your host, Jermaine Colon Mendez, and we have with us the executive producer of the EPE. On today's episode, we'll get into the NFC North breakdown for 2025, and we'll get into a little bit of the head-to-head. As usual, when we have a duo pod, we won't be getting into any pop culture pick'em or blind five. How are you doing this evening, Eric?
Doing good, man. Excited to be here for another episode. We're talking about the NFC North, so it'll give me an opportunity to talk shit, which I'm excited about. So, yeah, hopefully it's a good episode for you all.
This is Eric's daddy's division.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We're not doing all that, dude. Come on now.
I'm sorry, that's the NFC South. Tampa Bay Bucks, stand up.
Boo.
How about you beat them in the playoffs?
Give me the opportunity, and we will this year.
We've given you plenty.
Well, we need one more. Third time's the charm, dude.
Oh, now this division should be fun. They got a lot of madness going on. And it really does, not to sound too cliche, but it does feel like, anybody could win this division this year, which is probably the furthest thing from the truth, if we're being honest.
Yeah, because the Bears can't. I'm kidding.
I mean, we'll get into it. Let's go ahead and let's touch base on head to head.
Yeah. So last week was week 28. Not the strongest week for the pod, but we'll get it together at some point. Jermaine went 0-3, putting him at 30-54 on the season. He is up 18.06 units. Nick gonna deliver his 1-2 per usual, putting him at 30-54 as well, up 18.79 units. Nevada went 1-2, putting him at 37-47, up 48.88 units. I went 1-2. Nonsense. I gotta stick to sports, I know, but I went 1-2, 38-46, up 46.33 units. So, kind of a bad week for the pod last week, but live to fight another week, I guess you could say.
I hate to break it to you, brother, but you don't know sports.
You're right. I really don't. I know nothing. The only thing that I do know is that I know nothing, dude. That's the only thing I do know.
All right, who's the teams? All right, money line.
Yeah. Just be clicking shit, dude, hoping it hits.
Omi be thinking he'd be doing the Lord's work. He's just like, yeah, we got this. So you go look at it. It's just like, OKC Thunder money line, Boston Celtics money line. I was just like, oh, so you just pick the best teams and throw them into a parlay and hope it hits.
Hope it hits, baby.
That's exactly what he does.
Yeah. I mean, apparently Nick uses an algorithm, and we'll see when it comes football time, though. We're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of this podcast and how we bet in about 3-4 weeks. So we'll really start to see who the winners and losers are. Because we bet on all sports, but let's be real. This is a football podcast, football sports betting podcast. Like, it's the core of what we do here, in my opinion.
Oh, that's just because y'all can't keep up with the NBA and MLB. That's why. Because all you have to do is think about a week for the NFL. That's the only difference.
Yeah, simple. You know what I mean?
It's not. It's boring. Football is boring. This is not a football podcast.
It is actually a really boring sport to watch. But still, big plays, people get hung up on those.
People in America love it because they love being on their phone, and that's what they can do.
Yeah, true. Very true. You don't have to pay attention to the whole game. You just, whenever the crowd goes crazy or the announcer says something wild, you just gotta look up.
And the best part is nobody sees it live. Okay, not nobody. A majority of everybody doesn't see it live. They watch the replay,
Yeah, I mean
right?
that's why the red zone exists.
They look up and they're like, "Oh, I hate the red zone. I do not like the red zone. You just lose the nuance of what actually happened in the football game, right? Like
True.
it's like how did they get there? Was it because there was a defensive pass interference? Was it because a running back rushed for 60 yards on one drive, like 7 carries, 60 yards, and all of a sudden he throws the football to a wide receiver who catches a touchdown or a tight end? How did we get there? I don't care about
Yeah.
the score.
The meat and potatoes of the game.
Bro, it's box score watching at its finest is what football is.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the fantasy football, right? Or fantasy sports in general really helped grow the sports, right? That's why
Mhm.
people about it, they play it, people put money on it, and they take it incredibly serious. That's why you see the punishments and stuff, right? Without that, there'd be a lot of people in our generation and below that would not be interested in football the way that our parents were.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like fantasy football is, to be honest, even for myself, it's really what keeps me, and the recent or sustained success my team has had, but mainly being
Say recent
involved,
again. I will walk over there and slap you on camera, bro.
being involved in fantasy football has really, it just, it gives you more than just your team to cheer for, right? Like it gives you, you're invested in it more than just, and especially it's got to be like great for people who are like Browns fans. Like you got nothing to root for, so at least you got your fantasy squad.
Damn, hey, we apologize, Browns fans. Getting
Arthur specifically, I hope you listen, buddy.
shots taken at you, even though we're talking about the NFC North today.
No, we talked about them last week.
No, it does, but that's the reason why people care.
Yeah,
Well, a majority of people care, right? Because
yeah,
there is just like some people just don't. They don't understand the nuance of 12 personnel and 11 personnel and empty set, right? They don't understand the checks that happen at the line. They don't understand how the defense is adjusting, right?
yeah,
Whether you're bringing in a big nickel, which is just a safety playing the nickel position to cover the tight end, or if you're going to run, five or six secondary players.
yeah.
So they don't pay attention to all that because none of that interests them. They just want the flash, and then they want to see Taylor Swift on the screen.
Oh, all right, dude. Let's not. Let's not.
Hey, she got a lot of women into pro football, and that's only good for the dudes who want women to watch pro football with them. You know what I mean? So more power to it. And it's not the NFL's fault. It's CBS and ABC and
They're panning to her all the time.
Yeah.
Ridiculous,
It's crazy, bro. Like I get mad when they would pan to players' moms. I was just like, I don't care. I don't care what the fans are doing in the crowd. I don't. And one thing it's super funny because I have this like soapbox all the time. It's another thing they took from WWE, right? Or the artist formerly known as WWF. They do crowd shots all the time, right? There's this like iconic. He goes to a ton of wrestling events. I don't know the dude's name, but it's a black dude who wears glasses, and he happened to be at the WrestleMania where Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker.
Okay.
Right, which in the so before that, Undertaker was 21-0 at WrestleMania. Right,
so significant.
His exactly undefeated. Right, So Undertaker really has only had 6 world championship runs in his career. Okay. But to know you've made it in pro wrestling means you don't need a title. And the Undertaker did not need a title, and he was still the main attraction almost every year at WrestleMania just because of that streak, right? So with the dude's like reaction when Brock Lesnar beats him, because I mean, it's 21 years, right? So sorry, 22 years, because it was the 22nd year of the streak was gone, and Brock Lesnar beat him. And that's one of the reasons obviously Brock Lesnar in the UFC, he's just a bad motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
So Brock Lesnar that cemented him into an even more mega star because he was unstoppable. Even the Undertaker at WrestleMania couldn't beat Brock Lesnar, right? So those reactions were WWE had long been doing that. And that's why you see these sporting events like cutting to fans like when something crazy happens, because it's another thing they stole from WWE, right? Just like when them and NBC paired up for the XFL and they did the Sky Cam.
Yeah.
Right.
That Sky Cam was tight.
XFL did the Sky Cam. So a lot of like the different camera angles and the way products are produced for television stem from how the WWE approached their own product. But nobody will ever give them any credit, right? Because pro wrestling is silly.
It's because it's entertainment, not sports.
Yeah, it's sports entertainment, sir.
My bad. My bad. Hey,
no,
dude.
No. So it's in the wrestling sphere, it's a long running joke, right? It's professional wrestling to everyone who loves it. But WWE is like adamant about calling it sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's like the disconnect between the fans and the verbiage, right? So WWE is very particular in the way they word certain things, and that's always been a long running issue. So like when you have other promotions not WWE, they go out of their way to make sure they say professional wrestling all the time, right? So like AEW would go out of their way to say professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of like and like CM Punk, right? CM Punk is always like, I'm a professional wrestler, right? I'm a professional wrestler. And WWE is like, no, you're a sports entertainer. And it's a long standing like you know, just a pushback on it. And I just find it hysterical. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're both saying the same thing, right? They're just synonyms.
It's just bickering to bicker, honestly. Like, but it's all fun and games, except for when you mention the homie from Chicago. We don't like that dude.
Don't lump me in with your tasteless sass.
I'm not even saying his name, dude. Fucking goon, bro. What a gooner that dude is.
Out here not liking MJF. You crazy, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman for the win, baby. Dude, without Nevada, I forgot to get the timestamps. Hopefully the executive producer caught him.
Did not. It's never on the front of my mind for some reason because I don't do them. So
yeah, I know. That's why I was taking a shot at you.
It's all good. See, friendly bickering, dude. We're professional.
As we say in the intro, we are looking for a better executive producer.
Yeah, seriously. If anybody wants to take on this role, bro, your boy's tired.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into this NFC North breakdown.
So let me see if I can do this real good. Let's get this going here. Boom. Boom. All right. So last year, the NFC North finished Detroit first at 15-2, Minnesota second at 14-3, Green Bay third at 11-6, and the Chicago Bears fourth at 5-12. We'll start with the Detroit Lions. They are predicted to repeat as division champs. For the Super Bowl, it is plus 1,000. To win the division is plus 140. To make the playoffs is minus 230. To miss the playoffs is plus 185. And their over-under is set at 10.5. Jermaine, do you have the tabs open or do you want me to just...
I have the two tabs open, yeah.
Boom. So I'll let you take over.
So we're starting with Detroit, correct?
Yes.
All right, so Detroit, oh, wow, they had a hell of an offseason. Holy crap.
Yeah, dude.
They added like 30 new players. Anyways, so Detroit re-signed Khalil Dorsey, Al-Quadin Muhammad, Dan Skipper, Coyote Awasika, Pat O'Connor, Craig Reynolds, Shane Zylstra, and Mitchell Agude. They brought in DJ Reed from the Jets. They brought in Roy Lopez from the Cardinals. They brought in Grant Stewart from the Colts. Avonte Maddox joined from the Eagles. Kenny Yelba joined from the Jets as well. Oh, why wouldn't they put those together? Anyways, Kyle Allen was brought in to back up Jared Goff. Tristan Colon Castillo was brought in to help with their offensive line. Zach Cunningham joined from the Broncos. Rock Yassin joined from the 49ers. Malik Taylor joined from the Jets. Raekwon Williams joined from the Panthers. And Davad Wilson joined from the Giants. Players they lost.
Oops.
It's a very short list. Carlton Davis signed a pretty hefty contract with the New England Patriots. He is one of the better corners in the league. Kevin Zeitler left to join the Tennessee Titans on a one-year deal. Ifatu Melifonwu, cornerback, joined the Dolphins.
You crushed that, dude. You absolutely crushed that, bro. That was fire. I was like, he's not going to get this. And you absolute perfect delivery, bro. Sorry to rip. Go ahead.
Nah, you're good. And then Kendall Vildor joined the Tampa Bay Bucks, and Jonah Williams joined the New Orleans Saints. Let's go ahead and get into their draft here. So in the first round, they took Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Second round, they followed it up with a guard, Tate Ratledge, little reinforcement for the offensive line that saw a huge retirement this offseason. Isaac Tesla was drafted in the third round. They traded up to get him. Miles Frazier was taken in round 5, more offensive line help. They followed up with round 6 and 7, Ahmed Hassan, Dan Jackson, and Dominic Lovelet.
All right, and I got the schedule pulled up here as well. Man, I love that they're starting so many of these schedules with division rivals. So week 1, they're at Green Bay. Week 2 at home against Chicago. Week 3 at Baltimore. Week 4 home against Cleveland. Week 5 at Cincinnati. Week 6 at Kansas City. Week 7 home versus Tampa. They have a week 8 bye. Week 9 is home versus Minnesota. Week 10 is at Washington. 11 is at Philadelphia. Then they get 3 home games in a row: New York, Green Bay, and Dallas for weeks 13, 14, and 12, 13, and 14. Then week 15, they're on the road for the Rams. 16, they're at home against Pittsburgh. And then they close out the season with 2 away games at Minnesota in week 17 and at Chicago in week 18.
God, so basically we'll do a better job of having this ready next time. But from a strength of schedule perspective, every member of this division will be in the top 10. Just by proxy of them having to play each other. They had 3 playoff teams last year. They had, what was it? Because the Lions won, 14? Or they won 15, right? And then the Vikings had 13 with Sam Darnold. And, and then the Packers came in.
Detroit was 15. Minnesota had 14 wins.
Oh, it's 15-14. And then I took 1 win away from the Packers and Vikings, but I almost said Packers had 10. They had 11. So this is a red-hot division. There's good quarterbacks on all 4 teams, right? I think J.J. McCarthy's going to be pretty good this year. Caleb Williams, I'm scared of what I've seen. I may have talked about it a few times on some of these shows that we've done. His footwork terrifies me. From a passing perspective, he's got just unsure feet when he's in the pocket. And this is what I saw in year 2 of Baker Mayfield, right? So we had that rookie season with Baker Mayfield where he's just putting dots on everybody. He came back year 2 and he's sailing OBJ middle of the field with nobody around him. He's throwing behind Jarvis Landry, and it's because his feet were unsure. And I'm not sure if Caleb Williams was like that because of the last 2-3 years, right? 2 at USC, his rookie year at Chicago, where the offensive line literally just collapsed on him, if that's the byproduct. But we'll get into that when we talk on the Bears. So from Detroit's perspective, their offense led the league last year with something like 33 point something points per game. They were electric, absolutely pushing people's metaphorical insert bad word in. You know what I mean? Like, I literally watched them play the Rams. I think it was week 1, and they go to overtime, and they literally just impose their will on that Rams front 4 or front 7 and just ran the ball down their throat. And they said, this is what
Every
we're
play.
going to do. You stop us. They couldn't stop him. David Montgomery punches in the football. They win in overtime. And that was just a precursor of what was to come for that season.
Yeah.
And, oh man, I almost called him Dan Gilbert. That's the Cleveland
Cavaliers
owner.
Yeah.
What's their
Dan Campbell?
Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, right after the
ex-legendary Saint Dan Campbell?
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, why am I thinking about Dan Gilbert right now? I don't even like Dan Gilbert. And then as the season progressed, that defense that was very good lost 9 or 10 starters at one point in the season, right?
Yeah.
Including their star pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson. And he basically said to them, we're going to have to outscore opponents. We're going for it on every 4th down. And that's the kind of stuff you look for those people who are into fantasy, right? So it's very important for us to annotate that, because there's going to be a step back from the Detroit Lions offense just from that perspective, right?
Mhm.
The defense gives up less points. The Lions have to score less points to win. That's just the nature of the beast, right? On top of that, right, the wunderkind of Ben Johnson left. The offensive coordinator left. He joined the Chicago Bears to be their head coach. So typically I wouldn't say there's too much to worry about from that perspective, but in this case, Ben Johnson was able to draw up very unique plays, exploits from what he saw on film, which is why they kept throwing to that offensive lineman so much, which caused a ruckus with the referees, right? Because the referees outruled their play and basically screwed the Detroit Lions over, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's coming from the mind of Ben Johnson, right? So then also you have Jared Goff. Jared Goff is fantastic when he plays in a dome, and he's fantastic when he plays at home, right? And Jared Goff is very good at executing the offense as it's presented to him. So if Ben Johnson is removed from that scenario, was Jared Goff very good because Ben Johnson was designing stuff that worked particularly well for him? Or has Jared Goff figured it out from his unceremonious dumping from the Los Angeles Rams, and he is just a good quarterback, right? So those are questions that we have to have answered this year. It's going to be fascinating because they're obviously not going to score as many touchdowns. So it's going to be interesting to see how well their skill position players produce from that perspective. And then it's going to be interesting to see if they are one of the teams who perhaps trade for Trey Hendrickson and add defensive end help, which has long been one of their suffering points. It doesn't seem to them that it is, because they do not draft defensive ends, right? They could have drafted one this year in the first round, a pair with Aiden Hutchinson. They took a defensive tackle, and I still respect that, because you don't want people to be able to run the football on you. You needed depth. You had injuries. You know what I mean, etc. So, with that being said, I see just a regression to the mean. Not saying the Detroit Lions are going to be a bad ball club, but 15 wins is pretty fucking electric.
Yeah.
So I don't see them getting 15 wins. That's why their line is set at 10.5. And it's a wonderful line. It's still a talented football team on both sides of the ball. They're healthy. I think they're still well coached, even though they lost the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. They brought back a person who had previously been in their offensive staff, who departed to work for another team the year, and they brought him back to replace Ben Johnson. So I'll go over here. I'll go no to miss the playoffs, and I will go
You threw me off, dude. I get what you're saying. No to miss the playoffs, so they'll make the playoffs. All right.
Yeah, no to miss the
You
playoff.
trying to keep me on my toes or something?
Just head on a swivel, doggy. Yeah. So I just don't see them winning the division this year.
All right, so just to give you guys what Nevada picked, he does have them winning the division, obviously putting them at first, making the playoffs, and he took the over. I have them finishing third. They do not make the playoffs, and they will be under 10.5.
That's just because you hate them. That's nothing but hate in the heart right there.
That has nothing to do with hate.
Yeah, it does.
Has nothing to
Liar.
do with hate.
Lies, bro. Lies.
Anyway, anything else you want to share on the Detroit Lions?
No,
No,
they have a lot of fire matchups, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch that team this year.
I first place schedule. Jared Goff without Ben Johnson is going to be mediocre. They still have hella weapons, so I do think they'll win 10 exactly, but I don't think they're going to get over. So that's why I went under. Anyway, next, Vegas has Green Bay. They are plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl, plus 260 to win the division, minus 135 to make the playoffs, plus 110 to miss the playoffs. Their line is set at 9.5. Moving over to the free agency tab here. Jermaine, go ahead and take it away.
As usual, Green Bay likes to develop from in-house, so they don't really spend too much in free agency. They brought back John Fitzpatrick, tight end, most likely blocking variety. They brought in Aaron Brooks from San Francisco, guard, to bolster that offensive line. Nate Hobbs is a corner that joined them from I almost said Oakland, from Las Vegas Raiders. Mecole Hardman, the wide receiver from Kansas City Chiefs, joins them. Isaiah Simmons, New York Giants linebacker, former number 8 overall pick, just signed for a $1.3 million contract. How the mighty have fallen. And Christian Welch, interior linebacker from the Ravens, joined them, and Cameron Young, defensive tackle from the Seattle Seahawks, joined them as well. Some of the players they lost: Teddarell Slayton, defensive tackle, joined the Bengals. Jair Alexander was cut and joined the Ravens. Eric Stokes joined the Raiders. Eric Wilson, inside linebacker, joined the Vikings. Josh Myers, center, joined the Jets. Corey Ballantyne, corner, joined the Colts. A.J. Dillon, running back, bum, joined the Eagles. Robert Rochelle, cornerback, joined the Chiefs. And Andre Dillard, tackle, joined the 49ers. For the draft, they finally broke the streak. They drafted Matthew Golden, wide receiver, in the first round. We'll see how that works out. Aaron Rodgers is kicking air right now. Why couldn't you do that for me? Tackle Anthony Belton was taken in the second round. Wide receiver Savion Williams out of TCU was taken in the third round. Baron Sorrell, DN, in the fourth. Colin Oliver, DN, in the fifth. Warren Brinson, D tackle, in the sixth. Micah Robinson and John Williams, safety and guard, respectively, were round out their round 7 selections.
All right. And for their schedule, they are playing what would it be? Third place schedule? Yeah, they're playing a third place schedule. So they open up at home against Detroit. Then they have Washington at home. Then they go at Cleveland, at Dallas with a week 5 bye. They get Cincinnati at home, and then they go Arizona away, Pittsburgh away. Then they host Carolina, host Philadelphia, away for the Giants, home for the Vikings, away for the Lions, home for the Bears, away for Denver, away for Chicago, home for Baltimore, and they close out the season on the road in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Vikings.
That third place schedule don't look too easy.
It's not a third place schedule, dude. That's a first place schedule, dog.
Brother, I mean, look, the third place teams: Cowboys, Panthers, Giants,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Or are they playing that whole? They're not playing that whole division, right? No, they are just. They're just playing.
Yeah,
They're playing
they are
that
playing the
whole
whole division. Yeah. Who else would it be? Denver. Denver finished second, didn't they?
Denver. No.
The Chargers finished second.
Did the Chargers make it? Isn't it on your sheet? Right
It's
in
on
front
my
of you?
sheet. Real quick, let me check. Yeah, Denver. Oh, Denver did finish third. Okay, so
Yeah,
Denver it is.
Denver's third. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, bro, I'm telling you, these schedules for these teams are crazy. So what we have here is the Green Bay Packers basically said last year, we can't run Josh Jacobs the same way we did, right?
Mhm.
After Jordan Love received that groin strain, he had kind of a precipitous drop off from production as being an effective quarterback. I mean, he was still very good. Obviously, you don't win 11 games without being very good, but he just didn't have the same moxie that we had seen the year prior, right? When he
Yeah.
put up 4,030 and he broke out, and everyone's just like, "Oh, Packers did it again. They have another quarterback." Right? Got hurt in Rio versus the
Game one. Yeah.
Eagles, and then he
Mhm.
got hurt again in Week 8 time frame. I might have that a little off, and maybe it was a little later, a little earlier, but it severely impacted him down the stretch. Right? So then it just impacted the overall performance of the offense. But Matt LaFleur, since taking over in Green Bay, has consistently had a top 10 offense.
Mhm.
And they now added a round one wide receiver to the fold, right? Which, as noticed evidently, straight out of Texas. As noticed earlier, like they hadn't drafted a round one wide receiver in something like 13 years.
18, if I'm not mistaken. When we watched.
18,
Yeah.
18. Um, so now they have options everywhere, right? You had the
Mhm.
Tucker Craft breakout last year, who turned out that he's just a mini monster like George Kittle. Very good run after the catch ability. Yak Monster, I believe he was fifth in amongst tight ends, even though he was like 18th or 20th in receptions from tight ends. Like, so you have that perspective there. Josh Jacobs, another year older, but I mean the man is just a bell cow. Gets the job done. Marshawn Lloyd should be healthy this year. Let's see if he can back up and spell Josh Jacobs and provide them a little lightning to their thunder, or however you want to put it. So from an offense perspective, I expect them to be better this year, right?
Mhm.
Health permitting. As long as Jordan Love can stay healthy, the way that they run their offense, they love to spread the ball around and not rely too much on one individual player, and keep the defenses guessing and honest. And then the defense is more than likely going to be good again. And that's kind of why they didn't focus on defense in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. It was all offense. But they came in, they drafted a very good 4th-round pick, great value with Brian Sorrell. And then they added Colin Oliver and Warren Brinson to beef up that front 7 that they
Yeah.
know they're going to need when they're facing teams such as the Detroit Lions, who love to run the football down people's throats. They know they got to deal with the Philadelphia Eagles if they see them in the postseason, right? Matchup. Obviously, they may never play them in the postseason, but if they have to, they know they have to deal with that front offensive line and Saquon Barkley. They just know that they got to be able to beef up and stop the run. So you're seeing them add big boys up front, which is a great way to approach it. I am concerned with their secondary, which kind of makes me think that Green Bay is going to have to score a lot of points to win ball games, right? So Jair Alexander, granted, was going the way of Marshall Lattimore, couldn't stay healthy, but when healthy, he's one of the best corners in the league. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And now you don't even have those 8 or 9 games where he was healthy, where that side of the field is good to go.
Yeah.
You can help on a defensive perspective elsewhere. So I think Jordan Love's in line for a big season. I don't know which one of these pass catchers is going to be in line for a big season. I'm leaning mostly towards Tucker Craft. I think Tucker Craft should have a very good year with the Green Bay Packers. And, fortunately for them, they do have, I guess, easier games where you have the Giants, where you have the Panthers, you know what I mean? But it's not an easy schedule. Um, so I have them. What's the over under again? 9.5?
9.5. Yeah.
I'm going to take the over here.
Okay.
Oh, I might have to. Again, I reserve the right to come back and remove one of these players.
We can change anything at any point if we need to adjust. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some NFC South aside. the other divisions
They're stacked.
They are very stacked. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see this. So I'll take over, and I'll take yes to make the playoffs.
All right. Anything else for them?
Man, I might have to switch my lines, but give me Lions under 10.5.
Okay.
And Lions no to make the playoffs.
Welcome to the club, bruh. Welcome to the club. See, now you're starting to think like I was thinking when I waited on the list. It wasn't
dude,
just out of hate, dude.
Yes,
No,
it
it
was.
wasn't just out of
Yes,
hate.
it was.
All right,
Yes, it
so
was. Yes,
Nevada has them hitting over the 9.5. He has them as making the playoffs as well, and he has them finishing second. I have him over, yes, in the playoffs to finish second. I think me and Jermaine are kind of lining up on what we think in this division is going to happen in this division. But one thing I want to see from the Packers this year, which might even push them into the winning the division thing, is so last year Josh Jacobs had 96 yards, and it was the second most, or it was literally the second most rushing yards by a Green Bay Packer running back since Amon Green in like 2008 or something like that. So it hasn't been the focus of theirs. They had Aaron Rodgers. They're moving Jordan Love. I want to see Josh Jacobs hit 1,600, 1,650 this year. Let's push that up. Let's get that up. Let's keep your quarterback fresh. Let's keep your quarterback healthy. Give you guys an actual chance to see. Because last year they went 0-6 against the Vikings, Lions, and Eagles. Not going to win a Super Bowl when you're going to 0-6 against those teams. The way you get wins against those teams, keep the ball out of their offensive hands, and you run the ball down their throats. I want to see Josh Jacobs. I think he's one of the most, I'm not going to say underrated, but I don't think he gets enough love for what he does. I think he's quietly up there in Green Bay, just like he was quietly in Las Vegas or Oakland doing the thing he does. So I want to see Josh Jacobs go a little crazy this year, and I think he can. And
like in the league, like what is he? Top 8 running back?
Saquon, Derek, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd say he's 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
So you'd rather have Josh Jacobs over Devon Achane?
5 or 6, like I said.
You would rather have Josh Jacobs over Christian McCaffrey?
Not old Christian McCaffrey, but right now with the injury concerns and stuff, yeah, probably.
You would rather have Josh Jacobs over Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, fuck it.
That's a crazy sentence.
Because at least I know Josh Jacobs gonna give me 15 games.
That's a crazy sentence.
Cavs aren't gonna tighten up. Whatever. We don't gotta do all that. Anything else on the Green Bay Packers for you?
Actually, I'm gonna take them to win the division.
You're gonna take them to win the division?
Yeah.
So we'll go first. Division winner. All right, buddy. Got that in there for you. All right. So moving on to last year's.
What was that disrespectful buddy for?
Now don't do it. Oh, it wasn't disrespectful. Anyway, moving into last year's second place team, the Minnesota Vikings. Vegas has them finishing third this year. They got a 3,000 for the Super Bowl, plus 400 to win the division, plus 115 to make the playoffs, minus 140 to miss the playoffs. Their over under is set at 8.5. Boom.
All right, buddy.
That one really stung, didn't it?
Nah, because you get mad when people use buddy with you and you out here just throwing it out. All right, buddy, with your tone and everything. I was like, oh, okay, we just being disrespectful for some reason.
Oh, boy. Dude, don't do that feminine thing, dude. Don't do it.
You're the one who can't be called buddy.
I've adjusted.
Lying ass. Byron Murphy was re-signed. That's the other person they re-signed. They brought in Will Fries and Ryan Kelly from the Colts to bolster that offensive line. They brought in Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave as defensive tackles to bolster that up front. In the cornerback room, they brought in Isaiah Rodgers, Jeffrey Okudah, Tavir Thomas. And then they brought in Justin Skoll to be a tackle. Rondale Moore, and Tim Jones, wide receivers, joined. And then Giovanni Ricci, fullback tight end, joined as well. And then I forgot to mention they brought in Eric Wilson, the inside linebacker from Green Bay. Some of the departures they had were significant, but were filled quite nicely. So Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, both quarterbacks from last year, departed, joining the Seahawks and Colts respectively. You had Cameron Bynum joining the Colts at free safety. Cam Robinson, the left tackle, joined the Houston Texans. Patrick Jones, offensive linebacker, joined the Panthers. Garrett Bradbury, the center, joined the Patriots. Shaquille Griffin went back to the Seattle Seahawks to play corner. Trent Sherfield joined the Broncos. Johnny Munt and Nick Mullins both joined the Jaguars. Jerry Tillery joined the Kansas City Chiefs. David Quisenberry joined the Rams. Cam Akers and Jonathan Bullard both joined the Saints. And Nashawn Wright joined the Chicago Bears. From a draft perspective, the Minnesota Vikings added guard Donovan Jackson in the first round. They didn't pick again until round 3, where they took wide receiver Ty Felton. Didn't pick again until round 5, where they took Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, the defensive tackle. And they rounded out with 2 6th-round selections, where they took Kobe King, linebacker, and tight end Gavin Bartholomew. Hell yeah, I love that name.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, that's going to be your favorite player on the Vikings this year, dude.
Nah, dude, Vikings are whack.
100% I agree. All right, so they open the season on the road at Chicago. Then they get 4 home games. Atlanta, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I'm pretty sure some of those are in other countries. But they have 4 home games in a row.
Pittsburgh's in Dublin, and Cleveland is in London.
All right. And then they got a week 6 bye. Then they're in Philadelphia, or they're at home against Philadelphia. Then they're on the road, Los Angeles Chargers, and then at Detroit, home Baltimore, home Chicago, away Green Bay, away Seattle, home Washington, away Dallas, away Giants, home versus Detroit, and they close out the season at home versus Green Bay. That's a funky schedule.
Yeah, what sucks is, they have those 2 home games overseas. Then they come back, have a early bye, right? They play the Eagles, and then they have a Thursday night game against the Chargers.
It's gonna be rough waters for them, dude.
That 4-game stretch right there is just brutal, from like a travel and all the stuff nobody thinks about when they're picking actual ball games, right?
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, they got some very winnable games, and basically, the Minnesota Vikings, everything hinges on one thing, right? And it's what is JJ McCarthy? And there are a lot of people who flag plant, shout out Michigan, who just got rid of the flag plant, fucking pussies. So planting their flag on that they believe that JJ McCarthy is going to be a very good quarterback in the National Football League. And look, they drafted him in the top 10, right? So it's obviously they believe that he's going to be a very good quarterback, right? And everyone likes to use the track record of Nick O'Connell, right? And his ability to coach quarterbacks. Just kidding. Kevin O'Connell and his ability to draft quarterbacks, right? So not draft, develop, coach.
Yeah.
So, they traded for Josh Johnson, the astronaut. Homie tore the league up for like four weeks, fell off because he is Josh Johnson still, which is no disrespect, still an NFL quarterback, still won games, still threw for hella yards and touchdowns, right? And then you have Nick Mullins, right? Nick Mullins, balled out, and then Sam Darnold, or the ghost of Sam Darnold, because that can't be the real. Will the real Sam Darnold please stand up? Last year, played with a much worse offensive line, which nobody wants to talk about, and absolutely balled out, right? Sam Darnold last year had 4,030 touchdowns and kept the turnovers to a minimum, and had the Minnesota Vikings always playing from a lead, right? Which is something that I think it's very important to note when you're discussing the Minnesota Vikings, right? It's much easier to play a ball game from a coaching perspective when you have the lead in the ball game, right? See the same thing with Philadelphia Eagles last year. Philadelphia Eagles led basically 80% of all their ball games last year, which is the reason why they were afforded the opportunity to make a 2,000-yard rusher with their offensive line and their super talented running back. So it's going to be curious to see how this goes, because if JJ McCarthy struggles early on in games and the other team can jump out to a lead, it'll be interesting to see how this offense adjusts. Now, the best part about what the Minnesota Vikings have done to make this rookie quarterback successful, and it's something that I was arguing going into it last year. Everyone was just like, oh, Caleb Williams is the best supported cast any incoming rookie quarterback has seen. And I was just like, why aren't we saying that for the Minnesota Vikings, right? The Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, both first-round wide receiver picks, right? Both have balled out in the NFL. I believe Jordan Addison has had 908 both seasons thus far. They have TJ Hawkinson, who is a first-round tight end, pass catcher, great at moving the sticks, safety blanket extraordinaire when it comes to a rookie quarterback. They added Aaron Jones, who quietly had like 1,516 last year. And for some reason, no one wants to talk about Aaron Jones. They brought him back. Then they went and traded a 7th-round pick. They picked up Jordan Mason, who was one of the most productive running backs when afforded the opportunity last year. Jordan Mason, right, was 5 yards per carry and running in between tackles, and that gives them the kind of balance that they have with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones could be a great pass-catching weapon out of the backfield, and Jordan Mason could run between the tackles. And so now they've shored that up. They went in and just raided the Indianapolis Colts offensive line. They just said, we'll take Ryan Kelly, we'll take Freeze. And so now they have one of the best offensive lines in football, where last year that was their weak spot. And we saw that happen towards the end of the year when defenses were stunt inside and eating up their guard center combos. And then Sam Darnold was that same guy that we caught on Monday Night Football saying, I'm seeing ghosts out there, right? Turns out if you rush the middle super effectively, quarterbacks stink. We literally been saying that was the way you beat Tom Brady for years.
Yep.
Right? The greatest winning quarterback of all time, right? And now everyone's just like, oh, Sam Darnold popped at the end. It's just like, brother, almost every quarterback that gets rushed up the middle is going to fail unless you're Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, who can extend plays with their legs, right? The defense got better from the talent they brought in. It's going to hinge on the extra first round pick they added last year when they drafted the D end out of Alabama. If that guy, I forget his name right now, so forgive me, but if he can take that leap, because he kind of had a rough rookie year, but he's a rookie. He's adjusting to the league. He's adjusting to the new play calling. He's adjusting to the scheme, et cetera, et cetera. If he can get it together, this defense can be wildly formidable.
Yeah.
This Minnesota Vikings team is going to be good. The problem is it's still a rookie quarterback. And even if I know everyone, it's a year two, he's never started a regular season football game in the National Football League. So he's still going to have those growing pains regardless. First-year quarterbacks, even if they do have a good year, a la C.J. Stroud, a la Jaden Daniels, a la Baker Mayfield, a la Justin Herbert, it is still roughly 3,526 touchdowns is typically what they're throwing. And you're going to be ecstatic if J.J. McCarthy does that moving forward. But that kind of puts a cap on what the team can do as a whole, right? And if he can get 4,035 and do what Sam Darnold did, then holy crap, he's going to have the greatest first season of any quarterback of all time. I think that kind of caps their expectations, in my opinion, right? There are going to be a lot of people that disagree with this, but I will take the over 8.5. That's a no-brainer. This will be a over 500 football team, and I'm going to take them to make the playoffs. And I think that in a league that is nothing but parity, with the Detroit Lions taking a step back, Green Bay and Minnesota will take a step up, and they'll be the two representatives from the NFC North. And this division is going to be fun to watch all year.
So Nevada has them finishing fourth. They're not going to make the playoffs, and under the 8.5. That's crazy talk. I have them winning the division. I think they're going to go first, win the division, make the playoffs, and they'll be over 8.5 for sure. Sorry, go ahead. My thinking here is if the homie doesn't turn the ball over, their biggest weakness last year was offensive line. They beefed that up, which just means they're going to have more production from Aaron Jones. Just don't turn the ball over. That defense is what's the dude that coaches him?
Brian Flores.
He's gonna keep them boys rolling, right? And me personally, if the young homie comes in and he just does not turn the ball over and does what's asked of him on the small scales, complete the easy passes, don't do too much, don't turn the ball over. This is going to be a 13-win ball club. They'll be in the playoffs.
13 win?
13-12-win ball club, yeah.
All right, go bet that.
We'll see.
So then what stats does J.J. McCarthy end with? We talking greatest rookie regular season of all time?
No, I think he'll have like 3,222 touchdowns with maybe 7 picks.
7 picks as a rookie.
Yeah.
Brother, you better hope he doesn't start the season with like a 2-pick game.
I mean, dude, look, this is just, dude, I don't know shit, right? I never even played the game professionally, definitely didn't play it professionally, but so, it's just with what they have around JJ McCarthy, as long as the kid doesn't turn it over, man, I think this team is poised for something special. But like you said, I hope he doesn't have 2 picks in his first game because then it's going to derail this whole plan.
Yeah, because I'm purely talking from a 7-pick projection, right?
Yeah.
I think JJ McCarthy is going to be good at football. Like I don't think that will be the issue. And the thing is first year quarterbacks, like we go look at the best to ever do it, first year quarterbacks. It's really not that. They really don't do that much. So it's like, are they going to have 2,000 yards on the ground? Are they going to have short fields because of the defense? Like, it's like, how are they going to get to 13 wins?
I think they'll be getting wins in hard-fought, close contests.
I mean, they were what, 9-1 in one-score games last year. So usually you see a regression to the mean.
Yeah.
And this is my concern. I'm still betting with them. I'm still taking the over. I have them make the playoffs. I'm with you. I see what you're seeing, but this is the most I don't know team in the division.
Yeah, they could end up finishing 4th.
Yeah, Nevada, and that's the problem. And the other thing is, any team in this division, if you told me, if someone's like, I've come from the future, I am from February 2026. I know who wins the NFC North. If they come and tell me any one of these teams, I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I believe you. That's how I wouldn't know if he's from the future. I'd be like, yeah, you're just making shit up, dude. Tell me something I won't believe. Like Cleveland wins their division. Okay.
Bro, and like that's the thing. It's just like, yeah, it could be any one of them. The Minnesota Vikings could easily win this division. They are talented enough.
Yeah.
Again, my concern is are we being realistic with the expectations that are being placed on the shoulders of J.J. McCarthy?
No, we're not. We're not. We should, if we're being realistic with the kid, let's give him some leeway and say they'll finish second. But here's and we talked about this last night when we were talking about Jalen and other people, but Cam Newton, fucking pussy. Anyway, the kid won a national title. I'm not saying that's gonna make him a great NFL quarterback. Vince Young won a national title, did not end up being a good NFL quarterback. He was decent, but he wasn't good. But you have all this talent around him, and he's a winner. To me, that says he's going to do the things required to help the team win. Now,
13 wins is a rookie.
Does that mean he's not susceptible to throwing picks? Because that's, you can be a winner all you want, you still throw picks. So I don't know, but I'm saying if the kid can limit the picks and the turnovers, I think he's got that winning mentality of, if I need to hand the ball off 30 times to win this game, I'll hand the ball off 30 times.
Oh, he has
coach.
that.
I'll trust coach because he did it in college too. So I think he's going to bring that mentality to it. And that's what you want out of your leader. Like, dude, I don't want you to go out there and be like, I'm trying to get 6,000 yards as the first person ever. What do you need me to do, coach, to help us win?
That.
What's up? Yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, yo, if he can throw 6,000, please.
If you could throw 6 racks, go out there and do it, son. But that's just what I think, man. I think the kid's got the mentality of a winner. I think he's got the mentality of somebody who will make the sacrifices necessary for team success instead of personal glory. And with the talent around him, and one of the best wide receiving cores, because you got to include tight end nowadays. The dude's an animal. I totally totally forgot about Aaron Jones up there, and that's
Everyone forgot. Like, go look at
and
Aaron
he's from our
Jones' stats.
hometown. Like, I
Go
feel
look at.
bad. I feel bad because, like, he's a hometown kid for us. And yeah, man, I just have full faith and confidence in the coaching staff and the players that they brought in. Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen. These are guys that, yeah, they had down years where they were at before, but these are difference makers when they're playing for a guy like Brian Flores or Robert Saleh, or they're difference makers when they have a guy who's pushing them, motivating them. Like, so I think this team is really set for a good amount of success, hinging on that one thing that we keep talking about. What's going to happen with the rookie quarterback? But I have faith in the kid, man. I'm going to do the thing that you think I never do, and I'm going to give love. I have faith in the kid.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, so that's why I think that. But so this is this is his scrimmage from last year, right? From scrimmage. 306 touches, 5.1 yards per touch, 1,546 scrimmage yards, and 7 total touchdowns.
Let's get those touchdown numbers up, but that's great, dude.
It's like, brother, like,
that's great.
I was like, everyone forgets Aaron Jones was just out there 1,507. Like,
and you don't, and you lose touchdowns when you got the man who can catch a ball and take it 80 yards in the blink of an eye. You know what I mean? Like,
which one, Addison or
both of them? Like, what are we doing?
No, and this is the thing. Like, the team is better from last year. They won 13 games last 14. God, why can't I remember that they had 14? They won 14. They lost 3 ball games last year. 3. But the team got better.
And we all watch those Lions games. We all know.
What?
The Lions game that they lost? Like,
the Lions made the plays.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you lost to a team. Well, I think the Lions are fake news. But anyway, let's not get into personal hate here.
That's because, yeah, I told you picked them to not make the playoffs because you hate them.
Anyway, so Chicago last year finished 4th, 5-12. This year, plus 4,000 to win the Super Bowl, plus 425 to win this division, plus 150 to make the playoffs, minus 180 to miss the playoffs. Their over/under is set at 8.5. Look, guys, this is arguably going to be either the closest or second closest division we talk about this year in these reviews. So,
bro, I don't know. There's so many close divisions this year.
That's true.
Also, minus 180 to not make the playoffs. I know that is a little low on the juice. Still a great bet. Minus 180. I'm almost willing to guarantee they don't make the playoffs, right? And I know I just said that they could also win the division. Yes,
they could have. If Caleb Williams had footwork.
If we're talking ROC, right? If we're talking ROC, range of outcomes, yeah, Chicago could win the division. Percentage of likelihood is another story, but ROC, they could. Minus 180 is still tremendous juice. So for those listeners out there, a minus 180 to not make the playoffs is a bet I would love to take, bro. So give me 1 second. Getting hit up for, it's like they don't listen.
But some shenanigans or what?
No, it's every time they lock in, bro. It's like, come on.
Shenanigans. I can just go into the free agency if you want.
I'm good. It's just they have access to the email. You know what I mean? It's just like just log into the email.
Yeah, ruining our live pod. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, we'll get into Chicago Bears re-signing. So they brought Travis Homer, Scott Daly, Tarvarius Moore. They have that listed twice. They really want you to know that they signed him. And it's Steven Carlson and Doug Kramer were all re-signed. They brought in Dio Adeyegbo, defensive end from the Colts. They brought in Grady Jarrett and Drew Dalton from the Falcons. Durham Smythe joined from the Dolphins. Case Keenum joined from the Texans. Olamide Zaccheaus joined from the Commanders. Devin Duvernay joined from the Jaguars. Nick McLeod joined from the 49ers. Nashawn Wright joined from the Vikings. And Tano Capasano joined from the New Orleans Saints. Some of their departures, they lost Jalen Jones and Jake Curran to the Cardinals. They lost Coleman Shelton to the Rams, Darrell Taylor to the Texans, to Tevin Jenkins and DeAndre Carter to the Browns, Jake Martin to the Commanders, Larry Borom to the Dolphins, Jake Sanborn to the Cowboys, Byron Cowart to the Jets, Matt Pryor to the Eagles, Darrington Evans to the Bills, and Colin Johnson to the Raiders. As far as the draft goes, the Chicago Bears, with the 10th pick, took Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. They took Luther Burden, the third wide receiver out of Missouri, Ozzie Trapilo, tackle out of Boston College, Shamar Turner, DT out of A&M, all in the second round. In the fourth round, they drafted Ruben Hippolyte, the second linebacker out of Maryland. In the fifth round, they took Zaw Frazier, cornerback out of UTSA. They brought in Luke Newman, guard out of Michigan State in the sixth, and rounded out the draft with Kyle Monangai, running back out of Rutgers.
All right. And their schedule, they open up at home against Minnesota. Then they're on the road in Detroit, at home against Dallas, on the road against Vegas. They have a week 5 bye. Then they're on the road at Washington, home against the New Orleans Saints, back-to-back away games, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Then they're at home against the Giants, away for the Vikings, back at home for Pittsburgh, back-to-back away games, Philadelphia and Green Bay, back-to-back home games, Cleveland, Green Bay. Then they're in San Francisco, and finally they close out the season at home versus Detroit.
Man, it's like that's still not an easy schedule.
No schedule is easy this year. It's weird.
You'd love to see the Giants and the Saints on your schedule. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the Raiders, like, I know they're a last place team, but they're not a last place team, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you'd love to see the Browns. The Browns is always a fun name to see on your schedule, but because San Francisco is a fourth place team as well. So the Vegas Raiders and San Francisco 49ers are both fourth place teams, but they're not traditional fourth place teams in that sense, right? So this kind of, we've talked on the Bears a little bit in this podcast, so I won't beat a dead horse, but Caleb Williams was number 1 overall pick last year. I sure believe that the Chicago Bears wish they had taken Jaden Daniels or bought him a VR headset, which seems to be the key to the crux of Jaden Daniels' success. Nah, not trying to diminish that man. That man balled out last year. But I'm very concerned with the footwork of Caleb Williams. And, you know, if they're going to ask him to play a more traditional point guard type of offense, which is exactly what they're trying to do, and they're telling you with their Colston Loveland and Luther Burden the third picks, right, then, you know, he's going to have to be able to stand in the pocket, do a 3-step drop, get the ball out on time, do a 5-step drop, get a ball out on time, right? I feel that Caleb Williams, he has the talent to do it. And I feel like because of that, he was also in situations where he needed to do it. He scrambles too much to hold the ball, to extend the play, to make the highlight, right? Which is something that's way easier to do in college football than it is to do in the National Football League. And he learned that very quickly last year. I think he led the league in off-target throws last year. I think he was sacked 60-plus times last year. I think he had a sub 60% completion percentage last year. And this is all with the team that we talked about was the best a first round, a number 1 overall pick was ever walking into. 3 bona fide top-tier targets in DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and Keenan Allen, right? They had was DeAndre Swift on the team last year? Yeah, they had DeAndre Swift, right?
Komet.
They had Cole Kmet, and it's like, why did you struggle so much?
Yeah.
And what's very interesting is they started the season 4-2, and he looked decent, right? He looked like he would just have one of those rookie seasons where, yeah, we saw the glimpses, we saw the flashes. There's some headaches because he's a rookie, right? There are the growing pains we expect, which is basically the crux of the conversation we just had with JJ.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what are we to expect this year? Do we think that he's going to be the number 1 overall pick that we expect? Or is he going to be more of a slightly above average quarterback that doesn't hit the lofty expectations that were placed upon him as a prospect? And I'm concerned. I am concerned. But they're doing everything right for them to truly capture if Caleb Williams is going to be that dude or not, right? They replaced old man Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners in the game, with Luther Burden III, electric with the ball in his hands. Route running leaves from something to be desired. And it could be that Missouri just didn't have a very good quarterback, and that's why we didn't see it. So he caught the ball incredibly close to the line of scrimmage, and they just expected him to do wonder things. So Colson Loveland, I think, is a fantastic tight end when it comes to pass catching. Is his inability to block going to result in him not being on the field as much?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they going to protect Caleb Williams, the kid who just got sacked 60-plus times, and run 2 tight end sets, right? So with the Detroit Lions, the Ben Johnson ran 2 tight end sets 30% of the time, right? And which I don't think led the league, but it's a very good percentage, right? It's just that's 3 of your 10 plays every game had 2 tight end sets, right? So Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland are 2 fantastic tight ends to have on the field for that, right?
Yeah.
So was DeAndre Swift traded from the Detroit Lions because they didn't think he could run the type of running game offense that Ben Johnson wanted to implement? Because as I mentioned before, DeAndre Swift just doesn't have the vision. We saw it in Philadelphia when he had that offensive line, and he just didn't put up the numbers that we expected him to put up because it felt like he kept running into the ass of his own tackles.
Yeah, he didn't see the holes that were being punched open for him, dude.
And it's like, brother, what is you looking at?
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say everything's happened a million miles per hour, but brother, you've been playing professional football for 5-6 years now. It's like at a certain point in time, you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
And it felt like he didn't. Now we'll see, because maybe they don't give him the option to read the line and they just tell him this is where the hole is going to be on this play. And if they tell him where the hole is and he uses his dynamism, maybe DeAndre Swift can do something special, right? You have Roschon Johnson, the ex-Longhorn there. And then you also have the 7th round pick, Kyle Monangai, who I'm kind of high on. I think he's the best running back out of the 3. And I'd be interested to see if sooner rather than later, they just start giving Kyle Monangai run with the ones, because it's like, we know what DeAndre Swift is, Roschon Johnson. I don't know. I can't really say anything on Roschon. It seems like they like him, but they don't give him the opportunity to do anything. So I don't know if Roschon is or is anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him there. But they went out, they addressed their offensive line, right? Free agency, trades. That's something we didn't capture here again. We'll get the trades for next week, but the trades, they traded for multiple offensive linemen, right? They brought in Joe Thuney from the Kansas City Chiefs. They brought in Isaiah Jackson from the Los Angeles Rams. And then they brought in another offensive lineman, name's escaping me at the moment. So they've shored up that offensive line. They already had 2 bookend tackles. So they got better from that perspective as well. The Chicago Bears are going to be a fascinating storyline. And if they end up blowing the trade of the century, shipping Bryce Young out for DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, and the plethora of picks that they got from that, and they don't end up with the franchise quarterback they thought they have, they're going to be devastated in Chicago. For a franchise that has never had a prolific passer, I just, for their sake, I hope Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson was brought in for them to say, please come fix our quarterback, right? We fucked our quarterback up because for some reason we didn't get rid of Matt Eberflus, and then we watched him bring in the worst offensive coordinator in the league last year, and we gave him another chance in Shane Waldron, right? The Seattle Seahawks experienced Shane Waldron, and we saw how frustrating of an offense that was. It's almost Nathaniel Hackett-esque how bad they were. Then the Chicago Bears saw that and said, you know what? We like that. And they brought it in for their number 1 overall pick. I just don't understand why teams who get the number 1 overall pick do not just fire their coach and start fresh, right? New coach, new quarterback, start fresh. It happens every single time.
Yeah.
And it happened again with this. And now we're playing, please fix my broken toy. And I hope that we haven't gone too far. But easily, 8.5 is very high. I'll take the under.
All right.
And I will say no to make the playoffs. I have them finishing 4th, and I'll take Detroit 3rd.
So Nevada has the Bears 3rd, over the 8.5, but not making the playoffs. I have them under and not making the playoffs and finishing 4th as well. Too many question marks about. Look, we know Caleb Williams can do the crazy shit, but can he do the mundane every play thing that brings you success in the NFL? Patrick Mahomes, yeah, I get it. He does the sidearm throws, he extends plays. What else does he do?
Run the most boring offense in the league.
All the other mundane shit that gets you championships. So until I see, and you know what, Ben Johnson is a great coach to have brought in. I think, like you said, it's if you have the number 1 pick and you're bringing a quarterback, why keep the old regime? I agree with that, but also they did. In my opinion, there's a couple guys that could fix Caleb. Ben being one of them. We'll see.
The hype around Ben Johnson, I think, is appropriate.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's appropriate. The problem is like, can Caleb pick it up? And you told me already that you've seen a video of Ben Johnson yelling at him for throwing the same pick
twice
on back-to-back plays.
Yeah.
Oh, was it twice or back-to-back plays? Because that's a very different statement.
Twice as the same play twice, but back-to-back, yeah. Like the same route was ran, and he overthrew the same everything. Everything looked the exact same on the pick. It was wild.
Did they run it through a pick and they said, what, ran it again and then he threw a pick? Or was it later on in the practice is what I'm trying to ask? Or you don't know?
The clip just shows the both plays back to back. I don't know if they were literally ran back to back.
Yeah, that's fine. No,
but it was the exact same route, exact same overthrow, exact same pick.
Yeah, not good either way. But when if it's back to back,
like you're not listening or what?
It's like, brother. That's why I wanted to clarify that. But you told me about that. I was just like, Jesus. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I am concerned with Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
I am concerned because how much coaching does my concern is, does he have the ego to accept the coaching, right? Because he had Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley let him do what he needed to do because, first of all, they didn't have an offensive line, and then they didn't have a defense. So
they had one player to not one player, but one player can get you a lot of success in college. Not the same in the NFL.
I mean, and they had to, because that defense was terrible and that offensive line was terrible.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hoping that a good offensive line, a steady play caller, a steady head coach can get Caleb Williams to realize potential, because the NFL is better when there's better quarterbacks. And I'm just sick of seeing them not realize potential because organizations aren't identifying the right people to head teams. Right. It's evidence with Sam Darnold, with Geno Smith, with Baker Mayfield. These boys can play. It's one thing.
The wrong place,
and they're just, and that's the and again, that is the problem. You're not drafting in the top 10 if you're a good franchise.
Yeah. Right? I mean, you could have an injury-riddled year where you slip in, but most of the time, you're not a great franchise if you're regularly picking in the top 10.
San Francisco had every injury possible, and Deebo Samuel turned into slow molasses last year, and they still weren't in the top 10.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly.
I think they had like the 11th pick.
Yeah, they weren't even top 10. Like, bro, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, even good franchises do not draft in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, it just does not happen. So it's like, I'm concerned, man. I'm concerned with Chicago. And I could just be viewing it from a negative prism, but watching Caleb Williams play quarterback last year was awful.
Yeah,
and that's coming from the guy who watched 17 games of Derek Carr. I know Derek Carr didn't play all 17, but I just for the record, right? Like, like I saw one of the worst red zone quarterbacks in NFL history play quarterback for my team the last 2 years, and Caleb Williams' play concerned me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have the credentials to tell you what
it's bad when you bring in a new coach and people like diehard fans still don't feel optimistic. Like he was so bad that rookie year that people like announcers, analysts, diehard fans, people at training camp, they aren't feeling optimistic because it just looked that bad.
Oh wow, they're not optimistic in Chicago.
They've been showing a lot of fans, and we'll see. We'll see if Ben Johnson can fix them. Like,
hey, that might be right though. That look, they watch the same games I watch, brother. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, I hope I don't want another like supposed to be good end up being bad, man. We already don't have enough good quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Got like 8 of them.
And Jalen Hurts isn't one of them.
We're not doing that today.
Shout out Cam Newton.
Yeah,
just laying down the truth.
I'm waiting till the week we talk about the NFC to really get in on this, but yeah.
Look, Jalen Hurts wishes he was Cam Newton, brother.
Anyway, anything else for the podcast today?
No, I ain't got nothing. Follow us on Instagram, X, and YouTube at Podcast Room303. Follow our sister pod, Revenge of the Pod, on all things socials and wherever you get your podcasts. For myself, Jermaine Mendez, for my executive producer, the EPE. We'll see you next time when you come on down and step into the room.